Ah, fairy types. Cute, mostly cuddly, and most important of all, absolute eviscerator of dragons. Hello everyone, my name is Player Zero, and this is my first time doing a mono-type hardcore Nuzlocke. Funnily enough, I've never beaten a Gen 9 game as a Nuzlocke. My couple of attempts went poorly, so I'm a bit nervous to do a mono-type Nuzlocke. I decided that Fairy would be a good type to start with since it's currently the best type in the game. Paldea gives you access to some pretty good Fairy-type Pokemon. The two major roadblocks will be Atticus and Poppy, since both Poison and Steel types are super effective against Fairies. But I'm confident that we can do this. Let's get into what a hardcore Nuzlocke is. It has all the standard rules. You can only catch one Pokemon per route. If a Pokemon faints, it dies and can no longer be used in battle. It must be boxed or released. If you wipe, the game is over, and you must nickname your Pokemon. The extra rules in a hardcore Nuzlocke are no overleveling. Each major battle's ace will be the level cap. With Gen 9, there are 3 main storylines, so we'll be doing obviously all 3, but in order of levels. No items in battle, held items are fine, and set mode. This doesn't exist in Gen 9, thanks Game Freak. So we would have to say no to each enemy Pokemon that comes in. Before we begin, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, it'd really help out the channel, and comment what type of Nuzlocke you would like to see me do in the future. So with that all the way, let's begin. We begin our adventure by choosing Quaxly. Fairy types are super effective against Meowscarada and Quaquaval, and Skeledirge resists fairy types, so choosing the duck will ensure that Nemono has a for sure resistance against us. After defeating her, we get our actual starter. I use a wheel to determine what encounter we get since all Pokemon are visible. I believe this makes it a bit more interesting. We get lucky though, and our starter is a Ralt, who is male, so I name him Kuja. Very fitting if you ask me. By defeating some Psyduck, I can get special attack EVs and get materials to teach Kuja Psybeam, a good special attack at this point in the game. Our next encounter, we get a Fidough on the spin. So welcome to the team, Coco, named after the first dog I ever had. The next encounter is a guaranteed Tinkatink in Area 3 that I named Toph, who has an absolutely bright and glorious future awaiting her. For now, she'll just need to grow up a bit. The first gem goes well with Coco knowing Fire Fang, and all her Pokemon get burned to a crisp to the spicy nibbles. Way to go, Coco. Good dog. Next is the Titan Cloth. Arven is honestly a good partner in these games, and with his Shelter and my Toph, we were able to take down the Stony Crab without too much issue. Though Shelter did steal the kill away from Toph with a priority Ice Shard. I can look past it though. Toph will get more time to shine soon enough. Next is the gym leader Brassius. Fire Fang does big damage to Petalil as it regains a little HP with Giga Drain. It's not enough though, as the next Fire Fang takes it out. Next is Smoliv, who goes down to 1 Fire Fang. Last is Sudowoodo. Coco uses Baby Doll Eyes to lower Sudowoodo's attack. Sudowoodo then uses Trailblaze to increase its speed. Next, Coco uses Mudslap to drop the accuracy of Sudowoodo, which it retaliates with a critical Trailblaze to bring Coco down to 2 health. Even with our Oran Berry, we risk going down. I switch to Toph on a Trailblaze that does little damage. A Rock Smash doesn't do too much, and next Toph lowers Sudowoodo's attack with her own Baby Doll Eyes as she dodges a Trailblaze. Toph lowers Sudowoodo's attack again as Trailblaze tickles Toph. Toph somehow becomes a ninja while using Metal Claw to whittle away at Sudowoodo's health, dodging the 3 out of 4 Trailblazes as Sudowoodo goes down. Toph finally got a taste for blood, and boy did she love it. With the new level cap, Kuja can evolve into Kirlia, giving our team a bit more power. I kind of forgot to record the Titan fight with Bombardier, but honestly we just let Arven handle the fight. Next is Giacomo, the mastermind behind the Team Star's phenomenal soundtrack. Seriously, it's probably my favorite in the entire franchise. It just goes so undeniably hard. Anyway, we have a bad lead into Pawniard and switch to Toph, who takes a big hit from Metal Claw. Thankfully she dodges the next one and does big damage with Rock Smash. Toph takes another Metal Claw and then takes out Pawniard with the next Rock Smash. Next is his vehicleized Revavroom. We switch to Coco as she takes a bit of damage from Wicked Torque. She Baby Doll Eyes as Revavroom hits Metal Sound, giving us another chance to hit another Baby Doll Eyes, taking big damage from Swift. We then switch to Kuja, who tanks a Swift. We Terastallize to resist the incoming Wicked Torque and heal back up to full on a boosted Draining Kiss. Metal Sound drops Kuja's special defense as Draining Kiss does big damage. Swift does about half as Draining Kiss takes down the Starmobile. In East Province Area 1, we catch a Grass Terra Floette, who we name Bouquet. I trek all the way to South Province Area 6 to get a Shiny Stone. This was a dangerous journey, but with it, we use it to evolve Bouquet into Florges, easily our strongest Pokemon yet. We catch a Tenna in South Province Area 4, we name Karen, and a Meryl in South Province Area 5, who we name Meryl. Look, I kind of screwed up and clicked OK when naming Meryl, but whatever. It has huge power though, so I'm very happy with that. And I immediately evolve it into Azumarill, a monster of a Pokemon with huge power. We also evolved Toph into Tinkatuff. She's one step closer to her dream of becoming a killing machine, hero of justice. With that, it's time for the Nemona fight. Meryl easily handles Rockruff. I switch to Kuja on Palmy. They seem to be speed type, but after a bit of luck, we take out Palmy with Draining Kiss. Then on Crocodile, I switch to Meryl, who after taking a boosted Incinerate and Yawn, takes it out with Aqua Tail winning the battle. Next is the fight against Iono, and she is no match for Grass Terra Bouquet. With Flower Veil, it can't be status other than from confusion or held items that cause status. She cleanly takes out Watchro with Moonblast, sets up grassy terrain on Luxio and takes it out with the Moonblast as well. 2 Moonblasts take out Bellibolt after a small bit of damage from Spark. Last is her Miss Magius, the Pokemon that ended my last run in Violet. She tears Miss Magius to Electric, perfect for its ability Levitate. She uses Confuse Ray, but Bouquet isn't having it and takes out Miss Magius with Petal Dance, winning the fight and getting our 3rd badge. With the new level cap, we can finally evolve Coco into Dash Bun. Look at this good pupper. Good girl. Next is the fight against Mela. She leads with Torkoal as we lead with Meryl. We set up the rain with Rain Dance, as Torkoal hits a super effective Clear Smog. But on the next turn, an Aqua Tail easily takes out the Fire Turtle. Next is the Fire-type Revavroom. A Blazing Torque tickles Meryl as he nearly one-shots the oversized car Pokemon with Aqua Tail. After taking a Screech, another Aqua Tail wins us the fight, and that's 2 Team Star members down. While grinding in Terra raids for XP candies, we find a shiny Q-Font. Not a great shiny, but hey, a shiny is a shiny and we catch it. Too bad we can't use it. Definitely will get another one though. I forgot to record catching Cheeks the Dedenne, but he is facing off against the Titan Earthworm. We use Charm to have its attack as it nails Toedscruel for over half its health as it misses Supersonic. The next turn we use Charge as Earthworm goes for Sandstorm and gets confused from Supersonic. Parabolic Charge does huge damage to Earthworm as it hits itself in confusion as Toedscruel goes for Screech. We charge again as Earthworm hits Cheeks with a decent Iron Tail as Grass Knot from Toedscruel does good damage. Enough for Parabolic Charge to take out Earthworm in the next turn. That's 3 Titans down, 2 to go. Next is the Water Gym leader Kofu. He leads with Vizula. A Parabolic Charge leaves him with a bit of health as he nails his heart with the Aqua Cutter. We Terrasilize and the next Parabolic Charge takes out Vizula. Next is Wugtrio. It lands a Headbutt and thankfully we don't get a flinch as Parabolic Charge takes it out. Last is his Crabominable. Kofu Terrasilizes but our Parabolic Charge crits, one-shining his ace, though I doubt it was really necessary. That's 4 badges down. With the new level cap we evolve Kuja into Gardevoir. Oh hey, look at that, a shiny Shinx. Yoink. Next is Atticus, the Poison-type Team Star member. The toughest fight we have had so far, and it was rough. With Toph being the only one immune to poison moves, we use a combination of Substitute and Swords Dance to stall out Skunk Tank's Sucker Punches, the only move that can hit us. Then one Metal Claw takes out the Stinky Skunk. Next out is Revavroom, the normal one. It uses Bulldoze to break our Substitute as we nail it hard with a Brutal Swing. I can't risk switching into anything because Revavroom can hit everyone else super effectively. So we take huge damage from another Bulldoze as Brutal Swing takes out Revavroom. Next out is his Muck, and with our speed lowered, we are no longer outspeeding it, and it has Mud Slap. Looking back at it, Mud Slap would have done practically nothing. We could have safely substituted, but hey, we all make mistakes. We switch to Coco as she gets hit with Mud Slap. She uses her own Mud Slap as she dodges a Sludge Wave. We then switch to Toph to manipulate the AI to run out of her Mud Slaps and Sludge Wave PP as Toph recovers HP from leftovers. On the last Mud Slap, I used Substitute and realized now it does barely any damage as Substitute holds. We use Swords Dance and Struggle breaks our Substitute. We sub back down and Struggle doesn't break the Substitute. We take out Muck on the next turn. Last is the oversized Revavroom and it hits Spin Out to break our Substitute as Metal Claw does a bit of damage and with Toxic Debris setting up Toxic Spikes. I switch to Cheeks as he gets poisoned by the Toxic Spikes and hit with a weak Flame Charge. I thought Cheeks would outspeed because Revavroom still has a speed drop from Spin Out, but apparently it does and a crit Noxious Torque takes out Cheeks, getting us our first death of the run. We bring out Coco and she's able to get off 2 Baby Doll Eyes after avoiding Smog as she goes down as well. Rest in peace, puppers. With the attack drops, it's safe to come in with Meryl. We Terrestrialize to shut our Fairy-type weakness to Poison as Noxious Torque does little damage. After trading blows and taking poison damage, we manage to defeat Atticus, but at the cost of 2 team members, who I feel were completely avoidable. But there's nothing we can do as we catch a Mimikyu we name Pikachu for the fight against Larry. After a substitute, there's nothing Kamala can hit us with after stalling out his sucker punches with bulk ups. After that, Drain Punch is enough to one-shot Larry's whole team. That's 5 badges down now. Next is the fight with Nemona. Out first is Lycanroc, and we do 3 bulk ups and take damage from Bite and Accelerock. Drain Punch takes out Lycanroc, Palmy, and Goomy. Last is Skeledirge, who breaks the substitute after taking a Drain Punch for nearly half health. I sub back down, but what I didn't realize is that Torch Song hits through substitute and crits to take out Pikachu. That one sucked because of my poor knowledge of Torch Song. Meryl would have been a safe switch, so yet another avoidable death. Meryl comes in, and after taking a boosted Torch Song, Aquatail takes out Skeledirge. With the new level cap, we can catch a Klefki I named Key to Victory. We're also able to evolve Hatchrim into Hatterene, and Toph into Tinkaton, where we learn Gigaton Hammer. Next is the Ghost Gym Rhyme. She does double battles as she leads with Banette and Mimikyu. I lead with Kuja and Key to Victory. I protect with Kuja to get up Reflect as both ghosts target Kuja. Mimikyu then targets Key to Victory with Shadow Sneak, doing very little damage. Bayonet still hits hard with Shadow Sneak as Kuja burns Bayonet, and Key to Victory gets up a layer of spikes. Mimikyu hits Kuja for decent damage with Shadow Sneak as Bayonet hits Key to Victory. Key to Victory gets up another layer of spikes as Kuja burns Mimikyu. I switch out Kuja for Toph as with the speed increase, Key to Victory gets off the last layer of spikes. Bayonet hits Toph with a weak Shadow Sneak as Mimikyu sets up Light Screen. I protect with Key to Victory as both Mimikyu and Bayonet hit Toph with a weak Shadow Sneak. Toph then sets up Substitute. Key to Victory sets up another Reflect as both Mimikyu and Bayonet hit Toph's Substitute with Shadow Sneak, unable to break it. Toph hits Mimikyu with a hard Play Rough, healing back a small bit of HP with Shell Bell. I protect with Key to Victory as Mimikyu fails to hit it. Bayonet is unable to break the substitute and Toph gets off a Sword Stance. Mimikyu hits with Shadow Sneak on Key to Victory as it sets up Light Screen. Perfect timing as Bayonet uses Icy Wind, barely doing any damage to Key to Victory and Toph, still not being able to break the substitute. But a return slows Key to Victory down. Toph then takes out Bayonet with Play Rough. Next out is Houndstone, who takes damage from spikes. Key to Victory protects and Mimikyu finally breaks the substitute as Toph uses Delete Hammer to take out Houndstone. Mimikyu then succumbs to the burn damage and goes down as well. Outlast is Toxtricity, who takes damage from the spikes. Rem terrestrializes Toxtricity into a ghost type. Key to Victory fails to protect on the next turn as Play Rough from Toph cleanly takes out Toxtricity, winning us the battle and getting us our 6th badge. Next is the Titan Iron Treads, but we just terrestrialize Marrow and take it out with a couple liquidations, barely taking any damage. That's 4 Titans down, 1 more to go. I forgot to record the Nemona fight, but as you can see here, everyone is fine. What isn't fine is I accidentally overlevel my team, so for the next gym, I decide to use only 1 Pokemon, but Toph is all I'm going to need for this. I use a combination of Sword Stance and Substitute and Protect to get to +4 attack. Was +4 necessary? No. Is it funny? Yes. The rest of the battle goes as follows. That's 7 badges down and only 1 more to go, which is exactly the next fight against the Ice-type gym leader Grusha. We use Key to Victory setup Light Screen, Reflect, and 3 layers of spikes, and we stall out all Frostmoss Blizzards. We then switch to Toph, who easily shrugs off a Bug Buzz. Toph sets up a Substitute and a Sword Stance, and we win our 8th and final badge. Our last encounter is a terrestrialized Sylveon outside the Team Star base. We name it Joyous. Next is the Fairy Team Star leader, a poser named Ortega. He leads with his inferior Azumarill as we burn it with Kusha as this punk dares to taunt the superior Fairy type user. We switch to Key to Victory to set up Reflect and 3 layers of spikes. After toying with Azumarill, we set up another Reflect as we switch to Toph. And we all know how this story goes. Substitute, Sword Stance, and with that, this poser knows who truly is the Fairy type specialist. Last is Eerie, the fighting Team Star member. She has a pretty good team, but we have the type advantage. She leads with the Toxicroak, who gets one-shot by Psychic. Annihilate is also a one-shot, along with Passimian. Last is Lucario. We switch to Key to Victory and get hit with a weak Dark Pulse. We set up Light Screen and 3 layers of spikes before switching to Toph as she gets hit by Aura Sphere. Toph subs down and uses Sword Stance as the sub is critted by an Aura Sphere, breaking it. Toph subs down again as Aura Sphere doesn't break the sub, and Toph takes out Lucario with Play Rough. Last is the oversized Revavroom. It takes damage from spikes and breaks the sub with Stomping Tantrum as Play Rough does massive damage. The next turn we Terror to shed our ground weakness as Stomping Tantrum does a little bit of damage, and Delete Hammer takes out Revavroom. And we defeat Eerie, and that's all the Team Star member bosses down. The fight with Clavel is next. I forgot to record the fight against Oranguru, but I just spiked and screened with Key to Victory, burned with Kuja, then set up with Toph and took it out with Delete Hammer. Next is Houndoom, who we outspeed and hit with Play Rough. Next is Poltergeist, but Delete Hammer defeats it easily. Next is Abomasnow, Play Rough takes it out. Last is Meowscarada, he terras, but Delete Hammer takes it out. So sad. Next up is the Elite Four Rika. Forgot again to start recording, but we took out her Wish Cache with Terror Boosted Liquidation. Donphan is next and survives a hit thanks to Sturdy, and Earthquake does big damage. The next Liquidation takes it out. Next is Dugtrio as it sets up a Sandstorm so our first Liquidation misses. Earthquake does big damage as the next Liquidation takes out Dugtrio. Next is Camera, but a quad effective Liquidation takes it down. Last is her Clodsire. This thing has Water Absorb, so I have to switch. I go for Bouquet as she terras, and Earthquake does almost half with sand damage. Next turn she protects as I use Grassy Terrain, and the next turn Petal Dance takes it out. Next is the scariest person of this run, Poppy, and her Steel types. She leads with Copper Raja that goes down to Superpower from Meryl, but now our attack and defense are down. Next out is Magnezone as we switch to Key to Victory as we set up Light Screen. We set up our own light screen as Magnezone uses Flash Cannon that does a bit of damage. We set up a layer of spikes as Magnezone hits Discharge. We switch to Bouquet, who thankfully doesn't get paralyzed. We tear Bouquet to ensure she doesn't get paralyzed, but Magnezone goes for Flash Cannon. We hit Moonblast as she sets up another light screen. We trade blows until Grassy Terrain disappears and I set up another one. This stalls out the opponent's light screen, and the next Moonblast takes out Magnezone. Next is Corvignite. We switch to Key to Victory as she sets up Iron Defense. We set up a Reflect as she gets off another Iron Defense. We switch to Meryl that tanks a Soft Body Press, which is healed after Leftovers, and Grassy Terrain, which then disappears. Liquidation doesn't do much, but neither does Brave Bird. After running out of PP for Liquidation and her getting another Iron Defense in, we switch to Joyous, which takes little damage, surprisingly, from Body Press. We yawn Corvignite as it hits a decent Iron Head. We take another Iron Head as Joyous hits a decent Shadow Ball to bring Corvignite to the red. We switch to Toph as Corvignite sleeps. We're able to get off Sword Stances as it continues to snooze. On the next turn, Delete Hammer takes out the huge metal bird. Next out is Bronzong. We switch to Bouquet, who tanks a weak Earthquake. We set up Grassy Terrain and take an Iron Head. We switch to Key to Victory as Bronzong misses a Zen Headbutt. We then set up a Reflect as Iron Head does little damage. We set up 2 more layers of spikes as Iron Head does little damage. We accidentally go for spikes again, failing and taking a decent Earthquake. We switch to Kuja on the next Earthquake, taking a bit of damage. We burn it with Will-O-Wisp as Iron Head does little damage now. We switch to Bouquet, who takes a soft Iron Head. We use Synthesis to heal our HP back as Iron Head does little damage as Reflect wears off. We set up Grassy Terrain again as Zeta Headbutt does a little bit of damage. We switch back to Key to Victory, taking a soft Zen Headbutt. We set up Reflect again as Iron Head tickles Key to Victory. And then we switch to Toph on another Iron Head. We set up a Substitute as Iron Head can't break it. The Grassy Terrain then disappears. We set up Sword Dances as Earthquake surprisingly doesn't break the Substitute. So we go for another Sword Dance as Earthquake finally breaks the sub. Next turn, Play Rough takes out Bronzong. Last is her Tinkatongue. She takes 25% from the spikes as she terras. But it's all for naught as Delete Hammer from Toph takes her out, and Poppy is down. Boy, that felt like forever. Next is Larry and his flying types. First out is Tropius. Key to Victory sets up Light Screen as Tropius goes for Sunny Day. We switch to Toph and tanks a soft Air Slash. Thanks to Chlorophyll, Tropius outspeeds and flinches us with the next Air Slash. On the next turn, we don't get flinch and we're able to set up Sword Stance. The next Air Slash flinches us again. The sun fades away and we're able to set up Substitute with Toph as Tropius goes for Sunny Day again. Play Rough barely misses out on the KO on the following turn, showcasing Tinkatongue's terrible attack. The following turn, we take it out. Next is Altaria, who goes down to 1 Play Rough. Next is Staraptor, and thanks to the Substitute, Intimidate can't affect Toph. 1 Play Rough is all it takes to take down Staraptor. Next is Oricorio Pom Pom, but Play Rough takes it out as well. Last is Flamigo, and even with the Terra, Toph squishes the pink bird with Delete Hammer, winning the battle against Larry. Last before Gita is Hassel, the Dragon type specialist, the type we despise the most. Joyous's Pokeball shakes in anger, but he won't be fighting. Out first is Noivern, who halves our HP with Super Fang as Play Rough Okos it. Next out is Dragalge. Gigaton Hammer barely doesn't KO as Hydro Pump hits decently. Play Rough then takes it out on the next turn. Next out is Haxorus, and Play Rough easily takes it out. Next out is Flapple, who goes down to 1 Delete Hammer. Last is Baxcalibur, who takes a big hit from Play Rough and hits us hard with a solid Brick Break, but a Delete Hammer on the next turn takes down the Icy Dragon, defeating Hassel and the Elite Four. Last is Gita, the worst champion of all time. Like seriously, her ace should be her lead, but no, that'd be too smart for Game Freak to do. Anyway, she leads with Espathra as she sets up a Reflect and Shadow Ball from Joyous crits to knock it out. Guess he was angry he didn't get to fight any dragons. Next out is King Gambit. We switch to Meryl as he takes a hard Iron Head. We use Brick Break to get rid of Reflect and one-shot the King. Next is Go-Go. We switch to Key to Victory as she takes a soft critical hit Horn Leech, as Gita for some reason is trying to pity our Pokemon from taking a so-called crit. We set up Reflect as another Horn Leech tickles Key to Victory. We switched off on another weak Horn Leech and set up Swords Dance as she tries to bulk up. A Delete Hammer then takes out the Goat. Next is Avalugg as Play Rough does about half of the Iceberg's health, and it hits a decent Earthquake. Shut up, Gita. I'll give you something to be flustered about. Like this giant hammer smashing your iceberg to bits. Now who's flustered? Veluza is out next, but one Play Rough defeats the annoying fish. Last is Glamora, her ace. She terras, but we all know this doesn't matter because one drop of Toph's Hammer later, we beat Gita and yawn our way to the champion rank. Next is the fight with Penny, and thanks to the Elite Four and Gita, most of the Pokemon are overleveled. We still have Kuja and Karen, an unlikely pairing, but they're going to have to put their differences aside and work together for the next two battles. But I came up with a cheesy yet great strategy. Here we go. Also, ignore the Pokemon, I forgot to change them. Penny leads with Umbreon, perfect setup fodder for our Karen. First we're going to charm it all the way down, then burn it with Kuja, who also gets burned thanks to Synchronize. We switch to Karen as she tanks a Dark Pulse. Another Dark Pulse then flinches her. The next two turns, Penny just uses Baby Doll Eyes as we set up a couple of Calm Minds. Dark Pulses once again flinch Karen, that's only a 20% chance too. The next two don't flinch as we get off a couple of Calm Minds. The next one does, then the next one doesn't, and we Calm Mind all the way up. Finally, on the next turn, the Dark Pulse doesn't flinch, and we were able to set up a substitute. From here, the sweeping can commence. Draining Kiss takes out Umbreon, Flareon breaks our substitute with Flare Blitz as Psychic takes it out. Vaporeon hits a Hydro Pump as Draining Kiss takes it out. Jolteon then hits Thunder, which thankfully doesn't paralyze as Psychic takes it out. Leafeon hits a decent Leaf Blade, but goes down to Draining Kiss. Last is Sylveon. She terras as she hits Shadow Ball, but Psychic knocks out the best evolution, winning us the battle and taking down Team Star completely. Next is the battle with Arven, and I made sure that Karen outspeeds the Greedent as it is the first one to come out. I burn it and charm it all the way down with Kuja, then switch to Karen, who thankfully doesn't get parried off a Body Slam, though we were holding a Cherry Berry just in case. We set up a substitute, and from here, we just Calm Mind up 5 times, resubstitute, get our last Calm Mind in, and sweeping can now commence. Draining Kiss takes out Greedent, Power Whip from Toedscool breaks our substitute as Draining Kiss crits for one shot. Garganacl goes down to 1 Draining Kiss. Cloyster hits a Liquidation that thankfully doesn't drop our defenses as Draining Kiss takes it out. Last is Mablestiff. He terras and a powered up Crunch does half of Karen's health as Draining Kiss takes out the good boy, winning the fight against Arven. Next is the second to last fight of the game against Nemona. She leads with Lycanroc as she Stealth Rocks and Kuja burns it with Will-O-Wisp. Stone Edge can't do enough damage as we whittle down Lycanroc's attack with Charm. We then switch to Key to Victory, who takes little damage from Stealth Rocks and a very weak Stone Edge. We get off 3 layers of spikes while taking very weak super effective drill runs as Nemona thanks me to be impressed from taking 10 damage. We then set up screens and switch to Toph, who tanks the Stealth Rocks and Drill Runs very easily. She then sets up 3 Swords Dances and substitutes. A Play Rough then takes out Lycanroc. Next is Orthworm, and thanks to Spikes and a +6 Delete Hammer, it takes it out. Next is the Dunsparce. We miss the Play Rough as a critical hit Drill Run breaks our substitute, but the next Play Rough easily takes out the longer Dunsparce. Next is Palma, who hits a strong close combat, but then goes down to Play Rough. Outlast is Skeledirge. She terras, and so do we, but it's all for nothing as Elite Hammer is enough for the one shot, winning us the final Nemona fight of the game and wrapping up all 3 storylines. That leaves the final fight with AI Toro, a decently tough looking battle. I put a lot of thought and effort into what I was going to do to beat this. Iron Moth is a problem for our whole team. I found a solution though, so without further ado, let's do this. But first check out this shiny Venomoth I got in Area 0. Such a good shiny. Man, 3 full odd shinies and 1 Nuzlocke? What luck. What were you doing? Oh yeah, the AI Turo fight. He leads off with Iron Moth and we lead with Kuja. Thanks to the Choice Scarf, Kuja outspeeds and takes it down with Psychic. Next out is Iron Hands, who uses Fake Out, but then it goes down to Psychic as well. Next is Iron Jugglist, and we switch to Key to Victory as she takes a critical hit Flash Cannon. We set up Light Screen as Iron Jugglist uses Flamethrower, which also burns. We switch back to Kuja, who easily tanks a Flamethrower and then takes out the Metal Poser Hydreigon with Moonblast. Next out is Iron Thorns, and we switch back to Key to Victory as she gets hit by a Stone Edge and takes burn damage. But it's time to make a sacrifice. Key to Victory gets up a Reflect as Earthquake takes her out. Goodbye, old friend. You put in so much work. Cheesing enemies, setting up sharp, pointy spikes to wear down your enemies, and letting your teammates set up to win battles. Rest well. We send out Joyous next, and he yawns Iron Thorns as a Stone Edge does decent damage. We then switch to Mara, who takes a Brick Break that destroys our Reflect and Light Screen. Then Iron Thorns falls asleep. This lets Mara KO with Liquidation safely. Next is Iron Bundle. We switch to Poké, who easily shrugs off a Freeze Dry. For some reason, it uses Snowscape next, as Moonblast KOs the Metal Christmas Bird. Last is Iron Valiant, definitely the scariest mon, whose booster energy raises its attack. We switch to Toph as she is immune to Poison Jab. I make a stupid play and go for Play Rough, when Gigaton Hammer would have taken it out in one hit. But we miss with Play Rough and Brick Break does good damage. Brick Break gets Toph in the red, whose Play Rough barely misses out on the KO. We switch to Marrow, who takes the Brick Break. We Terra to get rid of our poison weakness, as Poison Jab does decent damage, and Liquidation takes out Iron Valiant, winning the battle and the Nuzlocke. Well, that was a fun run, and my first one that finally beat a Gen 9 game. I'm really happy how things turned out, and I made some crucial mistakes, and there are some times I could have definitely played better. But dwelling on the mistakes will not help me. Instead, I need to take them and use them to improve my Nuzlocking skills for the future runs. Also, I just have to point out that Tinkaton with Klefki kind of makes the game really easy, and you're easily able to cheese most fights once you get access to them. Substitute, Sword Stance, and Gigaton Hammer is such a deadly combo, especially behind screens. I knew once Toph evolved into Tinkaton, it would be the star of the team, and it really was. If I had to rank the top 3 MVPs of the run, I'd have to say it'd be Toph, Key to Victory, and Kuja. Poké and Meryl aren't far behind though. They all played key roles in certain battles and made me appreciate them even more. I'm sad Joyce didn't get as much action, but he was picked up way late in the game. But maybe someday I'll do an evolution only run and we can utilize them even more. Once again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do, and subscribe and share this video if you want. I really appreciate every single one of you. Until next time, have a good day everyone, and thanks for watching.